Hey. Hi, everybody. I am so sorry for the delay. This is the perks of working on location. Let's get everyone in. Amazing. If I'm panting, it's because I've just run across half of North Wales. There we go. Hi. Is this everybody? Give it a minute to let everyone join. Amazing. Cool. Okay, I'm going to share my screen because I got a PowerPoint. But hi, I'm Molly. For those who don't know me, some of you do, I think. Let me share the screen. Whoa, bet you can see yourselves now. Weird. Okay, I hope you can still see me because I actually don't know how this works. Oh, now it's making noises at me. I'm really technically able. It's really great. Okay, let's get started. So, hi everybody. I'm Molly, if you don't know me. And I'm going to be talking today about how to start being a runner. Whether you want to work in film or TV, whether you want to work in pre or post or production, it's a great time and I strongly recommend it. And you're in a very good place just by being here. It proves a lot. This is going to be super casual, as you can tell, because I'm not a formal gal. We're not here to be lectured at. It's just going to be a chat, like we're friends, and I'm just advising you on how to get into this industry, which is hard, but it's so much fun. So, about me, I've been in the industry for 2.5 years. I work across film and TV, and I've done everything from high-end TV, film, children's, shorts, indies, as live, different events, lots of exciting things. I'm currently on a high-end TV show. We're based at Warner Brothers Studios, but we're currently on location in Wales. And I've worked across multiple departments. I'm currently in production, but I've worked with ADs, locations, COVID, cast support, like assistant to cast number, whatever. And I've also been crew support, so producers, assistant, directors, etc. So how did I get started? I went to the Liverpool Institute for Performing Arts and studied management of music, entertainment, theatre and events, which was an excellent basis for me to kick off my career in this industry. We learned everything from contracts to management, but that's not to say that you need a degree, because you definitely do not. A lot of my degree was music focused, so it has absolutely no relevancy for this industry whatsoever. I can just throw random tidbits out about music, and that's about it. So you don't have to be in 60 grand of debt just to be in this industry, I promise. You also don't have to, if you are at uni or wanting to go to uni, you have to study anything film based, because the people who I'm currently working with, one of them studied psychology, one of them studied architecture, and one of them studied history. And now we're all working together in a production office. So take what you will with that. But the benefit of that was that I did have 2 years experience in music and events before I got my first TV job. So obviously they knew that I could handle the pressures of the entertainment industry, and a lot of it applies, especially in events, if you want to go into live broadcast and things like this. So my first ever TV project or film project was a short documentary that I did as a part of university. If you want to watch it, it's on YouTube, go see it. It's actually not that bad. But I got a lot of different things from that, like learning how to edit, how to contract, understanding different roles in the industry, and working on my communication a lot. But obviously you can learn that across loads of different jobs, loads of different projects, but getting involved is always a good way to start, even if it's making your own projects. Then my very first job was on a documentary for Channel 4 called The Boy Who Can't Stop Dancing. It was a lot of fun. It was just a few days shooting in Liverpool, which is where I went to uni. And I was working with one other crew member, which was a self-shooting director. And we were doing general view shots and home captures of the boy that it was about. And it also helped me understand COVID regulations, which were a big thing at the time, and helped me further down the line, which I then got some COVID marshalling jobs. And that took me flying up the ranks, which was very lucky. I also found this job in People in TV Runners, which is probably the most infamous of the platforms to find jobs in this industry. So don't give up if you haven't found a job in there, or don't see anything local to you, because it will come up, I promise. Sometimes they're few and far between, depending on where you live, but I promise you it's worth it. And then my first film job was on an independent feature called Kate and Jake. It was such an exciting experience to be involved in something that big and that exciting and that beautiful. It's since gone to a number of film festivals and done really well. And I'm also still friends with a lot of the crew, which is possibly the nicest part of it. But it also helped me understand the hierarchy on a film set and the different job roles that I didn't understand before. And it also helped to expand my abilities as an AD, because that's what I was mainly doing. I was third assistant director on that film, so I was looking after everything, supporting artists and extras, making sure that they were booked and contracted and understood everything that was going on. So if you can get involved in local features and local projects, definitely do. They're super exciting, and you'll probably make some of your best friends ever. And since then, it took off, really. I got my first big project, which was Ant-Man Quantumania, which I found through the England Marshals and Runners group chat, which I know some of you are in. And then I went on to do lots of different film and TV projects, and now I'm here, which is so exciting. This is my first time being on location for a long time. We're in Wales for 5 weeks, and it's intense, but it's so much fun. So how can you get involved? There is so many different ways to get involved in the film and TV industry, like I've just mentioned. So social media groups are number one. They are such a great way. I know that some of you are in WhatsApp groups. I know some of you are in Facebook groups. Definitely keep looking in there. I know that currently there's not a lot going on, and that is definitely because of the writer's strike. I'm very lucky in that our production hasn't been affected, but if you are wanting to go into film or scripted high-end TV, do prepare for there to be a little bit of a delay. But if you are wanting to go into a certain sector, don't let that stop you from taking other jobs. Obviously, my first credit was documentary, and now I'm working in high-end TV and film. So don't be fussy. Definitely don't be fussy with your first couple of jobs, because it will take you to where you want to be. Networking is potentially the biggest one on here. People you know are so important. So take advantage of different networking events local to you. Take advantage of the groups that you're in and meet people, talk to people, start little side chats with people if they say something that really interests you. Really make the most of it. Local film offices is an interesting one. If you're in a city, mainly this applies to you. I was very lucky and took huge advantage of the Liverpool Film Office when I was living in Liverpool. They often have so many resources for people who want to get started, and they help people get hired locally, especially up north as productions are moving away from London. It is an excellent place to start. If you can't find any resources or you can't see anything online about how they could help you, just drop them a little email, ask how you can get involved, ask how you can use them to help you. Email lists are also a great one. I've received 2 today with multiple different entry-level jobs in them. So definitely keep on the lookout for those. I know of, oh my God, now I can't remember what it's called. Equal Access Network with the London Film. They are incredible. They share so many jobs, both entry-level and higher up. So definitely sign up to their email lists. They literally sent out 2 different runner positions today, so go check them out immediately.
Just quickly repeat that name quickly.
Name, it's Equal Access Network. The EAN is often shorted to. Let me see if I can find the email really quick, because I will be able to tell you what jobs they sent out today. Equal Access. They are an incredible platform. I've received a few different roles through them, both event stuff and film and TV stuff. They also share a lot of free tickets and things like that. So to networking events or to different film events, they're a really good place to start. So definitely sign up to their email list. I think they sent out once or twice a week. Industry companies. So this is things like BAFTA. This is things like Screen Skills, the BFI. They are incredible places to start. I got very lucky in that in my second year of university, I did a project about BAFTA, and I've since been able to go and talk to BAFTA about it, and I'm involved in some of their projects now. So if you're interested in a certain company, if you're fascinated by the BFI Film Festival, tell them that. Do something that will impress them and get involved, or just reach out to them and say, hey, do you guys need some help? Do you guys have any entry-level positions that I can help out with? The issue with some of that is that they will ask for free labor, and we do not support free labor, even though I have done my fair share. Do try not to take any voluntary positions, but if you, this is very controversial to say, but if you feel like it will really benefit you and you're happy to do it, go for it. I've had so many incredible opportunities after doing a voluntary position, and it's often led to paid work as well. So be careful, but if you're really excited about the opportunity, don't let the fact that it's not paid stop you unless it's really going to impact you. Obviously, don't put yourself out the way and get hurt if you don't have the ability to do that. But definitely do not let it completely put you off, because I know people preach about not doing things for free, but sometimes, especially in this industry, you don't actually really have an option. Charities are also an excellent place to start. So that's like, oh my God, Women in Film and TV. They're an incredible one for the girls on this chat and the people who identified that way. I've been so lucky to interact with Women in Film and TV a lot. They do some incredible events. They do monthly networking. I work every year for the past 2 years now at their annual award ceremony, and I've met incredible people. So I've met some household names and some really exciting people. Then I've also met some of the most impressive crew members who you probably would never have heard of, but have been so beneficial to me. For example, Ilana Garrard, she is a camera op and a Steadicam op. Her most recent credit is the first episode of the new Black Mirror, and she's amazing. She's so good at what she does, and being able to discover everything about what she believes in and what she's founded is amazing. But also she helped me with my dissertation, and she's put me in contact with some amazing people when I've needed a camera operator, or they've needed a runner or a PA. So companies like that and charities like that are an amazing place to start. So definitely sign up, get involved, go to as many different seminars and events as you can. The fact that you're here says a lot. The next one, a risky one, but cold emails. If you hear of a project near you, or you see a project on IMDb or in the news that really excites you, just email, because you never know. You really, really never know if you're going to hear back. They might offer you some daily work. They might offer you a full-time job if you're super lucky. My only advice for that would be make sure you're emailing the right people. When I started, I was emailing executive producers and first ADs and directors. don't do that. Don't do that. Take it down to the people who would hire you. If you don't have that knowledge, Google it, research, find out. So if you want to get into production, email production managers, maybe production coordinators, production supervisors. If you want to be on the floor, if you want to be an AD, email thirds, crowd thirds, bass thirds, maybe crowd seconds, but keep to the thirds because they're the ones that are going to put your CV forward. But do not be afraid to send those emails. If you have the financial ability, IMDb Pro is an incredible place to find email addresses for those kind of people. Otherwise, just Google or drop them an Instagram DM or follow them on Twitter. Any way that you can to kind of get your name into these people's radars is an excellent place to start. And then finally, persistence, because it is going to take a while. Whether you've been looking for 2 days or you've been looking for 2 months, sometimes there will just be gaps in work. As I said before, there is the strike right now, which makes things very difficult. But also there are just up and down periods in this industry. And as you learn the industry, you understand when those are. But also sometimes it does just take time. For me, I started looking for my first film and TV job in the September, October of 2020, and I got my first job in March of 2021. So it does take time. Just you relax. Know that it will come to you. What's meant to happen will happen. But do persist. Do keep emailing. Don't completely hand someone's inbox, but just keep going. One email to someone and then never hearing back. Of course, you're not going to hear back. But if you email them once and then email them a month later, they might go, oh, yeah, I've heard of this person before because they've seen your name in their inbox or whatever. So just keep going. Sometimes there are lulls in the industry, like I said, between October of 2022 and February of 2023, I had maybe 3 daily positions, and that's about it. And that was 1 or 2 day jobs, if that. Whereas now I've been full-time from February to October. So it's all about that perspective of understanding that there's not always going to be a flood of work coming your way, even if you have I'm not sure if I'm allowed to swear on this. If you have lots and lots of credits, sometimes there just are still lulls, and you will have to take daily jobs and you will have to take maybe side work, and that's okay. So top tips and tricks, if that wasn't enough for you, I figured you didn't just want to hear from me, you'd want to hear from people in many a position. So I asked lots and lots of people who are on this production that I'm on right now that I'm not allowed to say because it's top secret and I'm under NDA and I'll get really told off. But I've asked loads of people what their top tips are for people who are looking for their first position. And this is what they said. So Will, who is my co-production assistant, said focus on networking at every opportunity. Seminars through schemes such as Screen Skills are often a good place to start. Will is such a good PA, it's actually scary. But this is his first ever job as a production assistant. And before that, he was a COVID PA, and that's it. So he is very new to the industry and he's already on a big TV show. So things can happen like that. And if you're going to take anyone's advice, I'd take his. And then Jess, who is our accommodation secretary, said, if you've worked on student films, say you were additional crew on your CV. Don't say you're a director, producer, editor, everything under the sun. Even if you did do all that, don't make yourself up to be higher up and don't jump the ranks too quickly, because it really, really takes time to learn in this industry. There is so much that you think you'd understand straight away, but I'm on 2.5 years and I still don't know half of the stuff I hear about. And then she also said, always bring a water bottle, tampons, and a lighter. And that's true. Hannah, who is our production advisor, she's been in this industry for so many years. She's incredible. She said, be kind. You don't know what others are going through. Try to be as understanding as possible and not to take things personally, because you will get shouted at when you're a runner a lot. If you know in your heart that you've been as kind and understanding as possible, you can sleep easy. Rebecca, who is our base third assistant director, said, take every opportunity that comes your way. There is no set path and experience is key. Work hard and lead with your personality. You'll be asked back and remembered if you make an individual impression. And I agree, but there have been times where I didn't take every opportunity, and I'm glad of it. There was a time back in 2021, when I was offered, I did dailies for a show, and then I was offered a full-time position as their COVID coordinator, which A, felt like too big of a jump for me, and B, I didn't want to get stuck in COVID because I knew that department was going to fizzle out very quickly, which it now has. So I politely declined, and then a week later they offered me a position as their production runner. So sometimes it is best not to take everything that flies your way. Just very carefully consider what you do take. Steph, who is our crowd third, said, perseverance is the key to getting a job. You must be the CV that lands in someone's inbox at the right moment. Don't be too disheartened if you don't hear back from people. Keep going. It will happen with time. Maria, who's our crowd PA, said, research your department and make sure you're contacting the right people for opportunities. Like I said, don't give up. You will have to send a lot of CVs, and you really will. For about every 20 to 30 CVs I send, I probably hear back at 1 or 2. As much as it can hurt, especially if it's a position that is advertised that you're excited about, you have to understand how full these people's inboxes get. As someone who's posted positions in group chats and on Facebook pages before, they come in thick and fast. So you really do have to have a strong CV, and you have to just get it in as fast as possible. Speaking from experience, on my last job, I put out a call for crowd PAs, and I got about 100 in 2 minutes, which is a lot. And I flicked through each one, and it was just the CVs that really stood out that I put forward to the production supervisor. So do make sure your CV is looking good and your grammar's correct and things are spelt correctly, and you'll get there. You will 100% get there. So my top 3 tips are: know the terminology. Do some research, make sure you find out things like what a honey wagon is, find out what 10-1 means, different things like that will 100% get you there much faster, because as rude as it is to say, people don't want to educate someone when they're on a super busy shoot and they've just arrived. Don't be afraid to ask questions if you are on your first job, but make sure that you're aware of some of the basics. Number 2 is relationships. Make sure that if you do work with people, keep in touch with them, check in with them every once in a while, and be nice to everyone, because you never know who that person could become, and you never know who could give you your next job. I'm on this job right now because of a production supervisor I worked with before put me forward for it. And that's the only reason that I have it. I would have never seen this job advertised anywhere, because it was all through word of mouth. And because of the relationship that I had with her, I was able to get this position. And then number 3 is strengths. Definitely play to your strengths. If you've got experience in whatever, events for me is my thing. I have experience in events, so I occasionally let people know, and it's resulted in me being able to plan wrap parties. If you're good at heavy lifting, you'll be the person who they go to, and they'll be so impressed and they'll want to hire you again. Whatever you're good at, if you can speak a different language, let people know. I didn't let people know on this production, and they've just been to Spain without me, even though I can speak Spanish. So let people know of your strengths and play to them. And that is it. That's all I have immediately come to think of. I will stop sharing when I find out how to. There we go. Yeah, does anyone have questions? Sorry. if you don't have to raise your hand, just unmute yourself if you want to speak.
Okay, so this is about the bit about student films you mentioned.
Yes.
With, additional crew thing.
Uh-huh.
So in my case, it was a student production, but it was semi-professional. Like it was creating a short film for a town's tourism department to use. And I was assistant director on that. I'm just wondering, should I still use additional crew or should I use assistant director?
No, I would use assistant director. I wouldn't put first assistant director if that's the position you had. I would just put
assistant director. There was no
I would just put assistant director.
Okay.
And I'd make sure that you put like as the title, even if it had a different title, I'd put like town name tourism promo video.
Oh yes, I've done that.
Yeah, like on my CV for commercials, because they are so different to film and TV, I'll put the title of the commercial and then in brackets the company that it's for, followed by commercial. Just making sure that everything's very distinct and you're being completely clear and honest about exactly what it is that you did and exactly what you worked on. Because people don't want to go like, oh, they worked on this feature film that's gone to loads of film festivals, and then they find out it's gone to like 2 local short film festivals and didn't even qualify or whatever. You just have to be completely honest about what you're doing.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay, thank you.
No worries. Anyone else? Anything? Go for it.
I've recently done a placement as a marshal on The Way that's directed by Michael Sheen. It was filmed generally in Port Talbot. There was a lot of it in Swansea, in Bridgend, Barry Island, Canarth and Cardiff. So I've been wondering about how would it look, since this is my first job in the industry and it was only a 3-week placement.
Mm-hmm.
Would that still be impressive? That's my most recent employment.
Yeah, 100%. My first big credit was on Marvel Ant-Man 3, and I did 2 weeks worth. But to be able to have that company credit on it, to say Marvel, and I worked on this title, 100%.
So mention a production company as well.
100. Always put the production company on your CV for everything that you work on.
What about screen skills?
About what? Sorry.
What about screen skills? Because that's how I got my placement.
Yeah, so I would put locations, screen skills trainee, or whatever your title was, but do mention screen skills in there. And then next to that, I'd have the title of the project. And then underneath that, I'd have the production company. And then next to that, I'd have your key members of your team. So for me, on a production, I will have the names of my production coordinator and my production manager or production supervisor, just in case someone looks at your CV and goes, oh, they've worked with so-and-so. I can quickly pop them a text message because I'm besties with them, see how they were on their production and hire them immediately. Always have names on it. Always have production companies on it. That's my recommendation. Do you want me to share my CV?
Yes, please. Do you have my email address as well?
I don't. This is all through Crew Bible, but I can get it, I imagine. Let me just find an old CV that doesn't have my current production on it, because otherwise I will get told off. Let's see. March, this will do. Open it up. Yeah, that's good. That doesn't have my current production on it. Okay, so this is my CV. Can everyone see it? Can someone say yes, because I can't see faces?
Yeah, can see it.
Amazing.
I can't.
You can't? Can you see it?
I can now.
Amazing. Okay, so this is my CV. Welcome. So as you can see, I have the name of the production and the production company. I have my job title, followed by the dates that I was on that job, which isn't accurate anymore, obviously. And then I have my contacts. So my production coordinator and my production supervisor. Same goes for things like this. Even this is another good piece of advice. If you don't have a title for a project, which I now do, but this is old, just put untitled and then put someone who it's by. So this is the director. I would put the most notable person on the project. So if it's an actor, I'd use the actor's name. If it's the director, I'd use the director's name. So I chose the director because she won a Grammy for working with Beyonce, because as you do, Casual Tuesday. Again, my title, the dates I worked on it, that was a 2-day job, but I've just put the month because they don't have to know that it was just a 2-day job. And then again, the contacts. And then further down, so I separate mine now into production, AD and floor, and then music and event stuff. And then I have things like my skills and certificates and all of this. So I have a DBS, I have IDC intimacy training, mental health first aid, emergency first aid, Albert sustainable production training. If you don't have Albert sustainable production training, go get it. It's free. And having that on your CV will get you into a production office much faster if that's where you want to be, because they want that badly. Doing Albert sucks. I have since done it, and it's not the most fun task in the whole world at all. And other departments will hate you for nagging them for different information, but to be able to do it is a skill. So there's another good piece of advice. And if you don't have emergency first aid at work and things like that, those are paid courses, but they are great to have. If that's something that would interest you. Same with fire marshal training. I don't have that, but it is also an excellent place to start. And then I just have my education, and then the little thing that everyone has to have, references available, and the GDPR. And that's it. That's my whole CV. Oh, and then my little thing at the top, but that's it. And always have the goal job title at the top. So whatever you're going for. So because I genuinely don't have the time to edit my CV, every time I send a CV, I have 4 different job titles up there. That's fine. They're not going to be fussy. They're just going to be more impressed that you do a number of things. Obviously, you don't have like 20 million job titles up there, but having a couple to be able to say, yeah, I can do floor PA work and crowd work, and then also production office work, they won't mind at all. Or like location marshal / COVID marshal, if they still exist. Things like that. Don't be afraid to go for multiple jobs at once. If you have the time, do edit your CV. But personally, I do not. I'm currently working a 15-hour day, for example. So if you really don't have the time, if you have a full-time job, if you have other commitments, you really don't have to.
Sorry, what do you use to design your CV?
I use Canva. There's loads of different layouts on Canva, like preset. What's the word I'm looking for? Like outlines. And they're great. You literally just fill them in. And they come, I mean, they're more catered to general CVs rather than film and TV CVs. And obviously, the way you build your CV should depend on what experience you have and how much experience you have and what your strengths are and what you want to go into and stuff. But yeah, Canva's a very, very good place to start.
Okay, thank you.
No worries. Any more?
I just wanted to let you know that I did do the Albert sustainability training while on my placement, and also the Mark Milson Foundation for the health and for the safety in the industry.
That's great. Yeah, they're really good. Make sure they're listed on your CV. They are very good. If I was scrolling through and looking for a new production runner or a production trainee for the job that I'm on, and I saw that, I'd jump on it, even though it doesn't. We aren't doing Albert on this job because the top dogs are American and not British. But I'd still know that it's super. Even if you're going for like a sustainability PA, because that job and that department is growing exponentially. Previously, on jobs that I've worked on before, we haven't had one, or we've had maybe one. We have like a whole department of them now. I think there's 3 or 4 on this job. So yeah, being able to say that you have Albert and things like that can get you jobs like that immediately. And they're always looking for sustainability PAs or green PAs or whatever you want to call them.
Also, one more thing. I'm planning to start having driving lessons because Screen Skills says they can pay for them through bursaries.
Mm-hmm.
Should I include my driver's license on the CV if I get the license?
When you get the license, yes, not before. Never, ever before. Yeah, Screen Skills bursaries are great. I've just been awarded one as well because I'm doing my intimacy coordination training. So I've been awarded one for that, which is amazing. So if you have something that you need money for, jump on that immediately because they run for 12-month cycles, and this one's pretty much just started. So they have loads of money right now. Yeah, definitely put it on your CV, but only when you have it, because if you then get hired before you have it and they go, oh yeah, we'll put you on the production insurance, just send over your driving license, and you're like, actually, they're going to be mad. They're going to be so mad. I think there was a chat about that as well. Tactics to get work without a license or car. Just don't mention it unless they ask for it, unless they explicitly say must have a car, must have driving license. Just don't mention it. They don't need to know until the last minute. The only place I would say that is an issue, and has been an issue this week for me, is if it's a location job. We're filming in the absolute middle of nowhere. So if you see a job and it says remote locations, but it doesn't explicitly say must have a driving license, just take a minute to think about it. Because as a low-level, entry-level crew member, they're not going to reimburse taxis ever. So make sure that if you are going for a job, you can get there, because if you can't, it really lowers your people don't like you, basically. If you come into a production office and go, hey, I can't get to work tomorrow, they're not going to be happy. We weren't happy this week, to put it nicely. How would you approach getting people to be your reference on request? Just ask. It sounds stupid, but honestly, if you've worked with someone before and you think that they like you and you know that you did a good job, just say, I just drop them either a quick text message or a quick email, depends on how formal your relationship is with that person. And just say, I mean, I wouldn't do it as reference on request. I would do it as and when you are asked for a reference. Don't say, hey, like, can you be a reference for me? Can you be a referee? I'd wait until someone says, hey, can you send over 2 or 3 emails/phone numbers for references, and then reach out to people and say, hi, I'm up for this hope you're well. I'm up for this really exciting job. Would you mind if I put your name forward as a referee, just to drop a couple of lines to this potential boss for me? That's what I've done on previous jobs, is I just wait, especially because you can then judge based on someone's social media or someone's IMDb or whatever. You can judge how busy they are. And if you think that they're going to be completely overwhelmed, then I can step back. Or if I know that someone if I'm going for an events job, I don't want a reference that's film and TV. Or if I'm going for a film and TV job, I don't want a music reference. So just my advice is very carefully consider who you're choosing as your references, and then ask them when you need them, not just in general. Personal question, if you don't mind answering, how did or do you supplement losses of finances between jobs, especially when you're at entry level? It's hard. It's very hard. When I was entry level, I was very fortunate in that I was still at university, so I had my student loan to rely on. And I also had a part-time job at a venue. Venues are a great place to have part-time jobs, by the way, because it's almost always evening shifts. So if you're in a city, even not even in a city, in a town or whatever, with a music venue or whatever, and you're looking for a part-time job, excellent place to start. Supplementing my losses recently, such as in the gap in this winter, I moved home, so I didn't have to pay rent. And I pretty much wasn't paying anything, which I'm very fortunate to be able to do that. Is if I'm really, really struggling, I can just go, Dad, help me. And I can go home and he covers groceries and I don't need anything else. I don't socialize for a while. It's fine. Picking up daily work, and especially for me, I'm very lucky to have the contacts that I have in music and events. So they'll be like, hey, we're looking for a couple of artist liaison team members or whatever for this like 1 or 2 day event, and it gets me a little bit of money, and that's great. But also don't be afraid to go for non-industry jobs. If you need money, get money. This industry is not worth sacrificing your entire bank account, because it also won't give you back your entire bank account. As much as the pay can seem nice in these jobs, for what you're doing, it's not. Because I know it sounds great to be like, oh, I'm getting 120, 150, whatever a day. Yeah, because you're doing an 18-hour day, or you're doing a 12-hour day non-stop on your feet, whatever. So please don't sacrifice your entire life to try and get into this industry. Do what you can, basically. Don't do what you can't do. I study fine art and I'm thinking about doing a postgrad relating to film. Do you have, is this helpful in getting that first job? It can be. Having a degree in, or any kind of education in what you're trying to do, can be helpful, especially in a more practical degree, because obviously on a film course you're making films, so you can say that you understand how to make a film, you understand how films are made, you understand the different roles to a certain extent. Obviously that's very different from a student film to then going onto a massive film set and there's 1,000 people on the floor, let alone in the office. So it can be helpful, but if I wouldn't say it's a must. If you can afford to and you really want to and you're really excited by the idea of a film postgrad, go for it. Why not? Have fun. But if you don't need, you don't need to. You can 100% get into this industry without it. As I said before, my team are graduates in psychology, architecture, history, for example. There's one person who studied film and I studied entertainment management. That's the closest it gets. So you 100% don't need to. I'm looking to move into the industry at a much older age than you are. I feel like I have loads of transferable skills. I've been in property development and more recently events. How do you look on CVs from 50 plus applicants for new runner positions? You 100% don't have to mention that you're 50 plus in your applications, ever. In fact, don't. I would never mention age or anything personal like that in a CV. If I saw a CV that had loads of events experience and loads of property experience, I'd 100% put them forward. It's not what experience you have usually, it's the amount. But I think the best thing to do for that would be to build up your CV with courses relating to films, not degrees and stuff, but just seminars and free courses, the screen skills training programs that you can do. They have 4 different ones. I think there's bullying, diversity, COVID, and 2 others. I can't remember. Get those on your CV, 100%. Anything you can find industry related that's a course or a certificate or anything like that. And then when you don't have the credits yet, make sure that your little tiny personal statement, your 1 or 2 sentence personal statement at the top, really is perfect. That sounds really stupid to say, but that's the first thing we read on your CV, or it should be if it's in the right place. That's the first thing we read. It should never say, I have a passion for film. We know if you're applying for a film job, you have a passion for film. Same with TV. If you're going for a TV job and you say, I really love TV. Yeah, obviously, that's why you're going for a job in this industry. But make sure it emphasizes your transferable skills instead. That's what I would aim to emphasize in the personal statement is I have X many years of experience across a range of industries, including property development and events, or I even do events first in entertainment events and property development, enabling me to have a strong skill set, including the transferable skills of XYZ. That isn't how I'd phrase it, but it's similar to how I phrase it. I'd go back in and edit that because some of that was shocking English, actually. But that's definitely how I'd go about it, and then go in with your experience after that. How do you deal with getting rejected over and over again? It's hard. It's very hard. The thing with this industry is that you won't get rejected. You'll just never hear anything back. That's the painful part, is literally never hearing a word ever again. You can get so excited for a job. You can see a job that's like your dream job. It's, you know, this TV show that you've always wanted to work on, or a film that you really like the sound of, or it's just completely local to you, and you're like, oh my god, that's ideal for my first or second or whatever job. And you email and you get so excited, and you're waiting, and you just never hear anything. That's the hard part. How do you deal with it is that you honestly, this sounds so bad, you get used to it, and you just start beginning to stop doing that. The only time I now get excited is when I do get a response, rather than when I see a job and I'm like, oh my god, that would be so cool. I'm just like, okay, another job, send the application, forget about it. If I hear back, I hear back. That's how you have to function in this. Eventually, I'm not at this point yet, and it's less common with production, it's more common with ADs, is that you won't have to apply, you'll just get taken with on the first or the second's next job. If you're a floor PA or a crowd PA, or a third, if you manage to step up to third, is you will just get taken with, is how I see it work. So if you want to go into AD department, you can get used to that. For production, it is more word of mouth. It's like, oh, my previous coordinator knows this production manager, and they're working on a project with this coordinator who's looking for this role. And that's how it works when you are in the industry. But earlier on, you do just have to get used to just completely being ignored. Even still, I get ignored on the daily, both by people that I'm applying for jobs for and the rest of my crew. It's great. Any go-to templates you would use for cover letters? Cold emails. Cold emails are very hard to structure, but Google it. It sounds stupid, but Google it. There are some great templates. You will have to completely rejig it to get it to apply to film and TV, because they're very much normal people job related. But they are an excellent place to start. And then for cover letters, it may sound obvious, but go to the People in TV Runners Facebook page, and they have, I think it's in their pinned or something, or their featured posts is something about cover letters and CVs and exactly what you should include. The CV one, if you haven't read it already, go read it and go change your CV entirely to match it. And same with cover emails and cover letters. because it's the best advice I've ever read. I think it's actually linked on the Crew Bible Facebook or the Crew Bible website. There's a link to that advice somewhere. I'm going to have to rush through these last 2 questions because I promised my boss I'd be back in the trailer at exactly 5 past. Would this online workshop be a good thing to put on my CV under education? Sorry, Tilly. Which workshop? I don't know what. Oh, this workshop. Oh, thanks. No, don't put this. I would only put things on my CV if I received a certificate or something like that in response. You won't for this. I do apologize. No, I would just, no. Seminars and things like that, I wouldn't put. But anything where you're being trained in something, I would. Anything where you're being taught how to do the job that you want, I would. But this, no, sorry, I do apologize. If you don't mind sharing, where do you see the trajectory of your career going? There's 2 different ways I could answer this: the way I want it to go and the way it probably will go. The way I want it to go, I've been a production assistant / production runner on 4 major projects, 5 major projects now, as long-term jobs. So I'm hoping the next one is a step up or a step across. The way I'd like it to go is to then go to producer's assistant for larger projects. I've done it on small projects before, but I'd like it to, I mean, the job I'm on right now, I would absolutely kill to assist some of our producers, because being a producer's assistant is the best way to become a producer if you're not from a script background, which I'm not. I can't write for, I was going to swear again, but I don't know if I'm allowed to. Yeah, because a lot of times producers take their assistants and allow them to become associate producers on their projects if you've been with them for a long time. And that is the best way up, because if you can't carry on in production, which is probably what I'm going to end up doing, it's a very long ladder in this industry. In high-end TV and film, it takes years to get to the top unless you're sleeping with someone, which is more common than you think it is, because from production assistant you have production secretaries, which secretaries are in their role for years before they step up to assistant coordinator. They're in their role for years before they can become coordinators. They're there for years and years before they become supervisors, and again for production manager, and then line producer. And then a lot of people get stuck at line producer and can't make it to producer. Some people jump from production manager to unit production manager and then are able to become a producer, but that really does take years and years, and I don't have the time for that, to be honest. I want to produce stuff right now. But yeah, thanks for asking. Do I think it's achievable? No, but I'm going to make it work. And on that note, on that cheery, lovely note, thank you all for joining. I do have a job to get back to, and I'm slightly concerned because the call sheet's just come out, so I need to print it. Thank you for joining. If anyone has any questions or further comments or just wants to chat, I have TikTok and I have Instagram. Just drop me messages. It will go into my requests and I probably won't see it for a couple of weeks, but I will eventually respond, I promise. Thank you. And I hope you all have wonderful evenings. Goodbye.
Bye.
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 Bye. Bye.